size. Triple the game, triple the prize. Triple the work, triple the rest. Triple the worst, triple the best.
Thank you, Nino.
Welcome, Jugs. It is January the 11th, 2023. Here we are, sitting in Peggy's.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my God, you've no idea how pleased we are to have you and how proud we are to host you this evening.
Amazing.
So it's great to just sit back kind of and have a little conversation with you before you play tonight. And kind of, so anybody that's, watching this will kind of go, who's this guy? Who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
Juga-Naut? Who's this Juga-Naut coming through? So, I know you as an awesome rapper.
Yeah.
And your writing is really interesting to me, being an older woman. Well, just being female, actually. Because you don't offend me. And that's kind of quite refreshing. From the hip hop scene generally.
For sure.
And politically, I really like your bent, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I like the cut of your jib, sir.
I like that phrase.
So, that kind of where you come from and how you speak, and I absolutely believe you. I believe you're genuine. I don't think you're doing this to be famous. I feel like you're doing this from the heart, and it's something that you are compelled to do and say. So that's what I know of you, and what we want to try and do with these interviews is find out who you are, how you take what kind of made you come to this point, so that any musicians out there, any rappers out there, or any parents of people that are looking after these people to bring them emerge them into the world,
for sure,
can find out, like, okay, what do you do? How do you do it? How does it work? So I was going to ask you a little bit about your childhood. So kind of like, your upbringing, kind of what music were you listening to when you were a kid?
Oh man, well, I was lucky because both of my parents are artists. So my dad's a drummer and a poet, and my mum is an artist, visual artist, and she was taught art as well, to help feed the family, because it's a household of art. So as we know, there's not much money around.
Indeed.
But I had a, invaluable, I can't put a value on the education I had from a young age. So I was in my mum's stomach, and I think they were at a Tribe Called Quest gig, so it's that.
Fantastic.
It's that deep. So, exactly. So like, jazz, funk, soul, garage, rare groove. I was born into that, and all types of music from
scene.
Punk, every realm. So but my earliest memories is like hip hop. Just it's in my bones. It's literally in my bones. Like especially my dad being a drummer and a poet. It's in there. So
the rhythm's there.
Yeah, but. In Nottingham, it's a hip hop city. There's a deep, legacy and history here, all the way back to the 80s with the Rock City crew, and there's so many amazing artists and lyricists that have come. St. Anne's, an artist that have come from the city. So I couldn't do anything but this in a way. It's in this. There's a driving force inside, like you're saying. Like, where does it come from? It's like there's something in here that can't be quenched. It's constantly going, which is a double-edged sword. Because some people say, creation comes from trauma, and maybe it does, but maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Maybe there's just the driving force that is the place I'm from. So that was my beginnings in it. So that I listened to everything really, but a lot of funk, soul, jazz, hip hop. I was born into that.
Great. Well, that's a really good heritage, isn't it? Like right there, you came kicking out of the stable.
Exactly.
Like,
can't do anything else but
so
this.
Ready. That's brilliant. And I wanted to ask you, because how you kind of formulate something. Because like as a writer myself, I'm really interested. Like how sometimes people would say, what comes first? Is it the music? Is it a beat? Is there a rhyme in your head, or is there a subject matter? How do you get in your flow?
So with hip hop, it's usually the beat first. So I produce most of my own music too. So I'll be like sampling stuff, listening to things all the time. And once I make a beat, if it with me, it's like within the first 5 minutes. If I loop something up and it starts clicking, then I'm gonna write to it.
So it's just the beat, no chords, no nothing,
no chords, no loop. But sometimes I'll be living my everyday life, and it's usually about 2 bars, 2 lines will come into my head. I'm like, that's the start of a verse, or that goes somewhere. So I'll write it down, or I put it in my phone if I'm moving.
It might be a thing that repeats,
and I'll
tuck
it, or usually it's two lines that start a verse, and that can be the concept. Or a lot of my music is, I like to see it as an abstract, it's sporadic. So, and that's the beauty of hip hop is, you know, people have talked about the great writers of all time in different genres, but in one hip hop song, 3 minutes long, 3 verses, you can touch on 100 different subjects. So,
but there's poetry there as well, you know, the way how you can talk about it in colours and
the colours and you know, it's all about, you know, the rhyme patterns and fitting in syllables,
the language,
the mathematics of it and the language, and then being from the UK, like I've got, you know, amazingly fans all over the world, but some people are like, you know, you're the only UK rapper I can listen to, your voice fits that, and that's a crazy thing to say because this is our accent, but at the same time, I understand that with the way I enunciate, it touches people in a different way.
It's real as well, like that's really got to be respected, you know, you're not putting on a kind of New York, Harlem, Brooklyn accent, you know, or any of that, you know, you're not from Chicago, you're from...
I'm from here, and this is born and bred here. I've been lucky enough to travel, I've been lucky enough to see the world, so in different ways, so that broadens your mind, you know, because it's a small city, and there's a great mentality here, but then to branch out and feel it, and then come back with that energy is a different feeling, but... you can't be anyone but yourself. There were rappers that used accents back in the day, and some people do it now. But to just to be true to form, be yourself. It's like there's a, you know, the cliche age-old thing in hip hop is keep it real. But the truth is, if that's what you can do, like we said, that driving force, then I'm staying true to myself in that way.
No, that's really, it's very much appreciated. That's it's like being a singer. You've got to be real. Because otherwise people don't believe you. No, you know.
And the worst thing, if someone's, you know, they're selling you something, or they're trying to push something. There's something that doesn't quite fit, and you can tell that with people, you know. And like, I haven't got the face for fame, I don't think. So I'm coming from that.
I've got a really good radio face. You're a beautiful man.
Oh, thank you.
Which everybody would agree. So I wanted to ask you. So like, for anybody that's like, you know, a young person who's like, you know, a kid at school still, but really into hip hop, and then, you know, they're not quite allowed out yet, but like, where do they find the scene? Where do they find other musicians? You know, how does this kind of work? Like, if you're stuck out in the middle of the countryside, but there's, you know, a blossoming hip hop artist out there, have you got any advice, kind of like where to find people, to find people? In the UK, it's difficult now. There's no centralized place. There used to be like a hip hop scene in a stronger form in the 90s, 2000s, but it's not as much now. So there's like sporadic hip hop nights, but it's just finding the community online, especially. You know, it's sad to say, but social media is the place. It is. It's king,
Instagram's massive for hip hop, and just finding people there. But to be honest, it's just study the greats. If you really love it, just go back, see what came before, and know the path that people took to get to where you're at now. Because I found I was shunned a lot by an older generation until they realized I knew my shit. So so they realize you know what you know, then they respect you. And it's hard because there is a generational thing. It's like a 10-year loop. It's like people that have been doing it, once they know, you know, then you can't question that. And it comes back to the reality of it. If you know your history, whatever you do, if you're studying food, if you're studying art, you got to study the greats from the beginning. And then you can see also the artists that inspired you, where they got their style from. So I know the rappers that really inspired me, where it started and who it came from, and how I've took an inspiration and then molded it into what works for me. So just studying, and just you have to be in love with it. And love to different people feels different ways, but I know there's a trueness that I feel that is there. So I think just study, try and do everything yourself. Play with production, play with writing, play with the different elements of hip hop, and reach out to. And if there's an event on, go to it. Don't feel like, oh, I should be on stage straight away. Just go to it. Pay the ticket price. Go and see. Meet people. People are always open. And the thing about hip hop, it gives people a culture and a community that maybe don't have it. And that's the thing. Like, I've always felt accepted. When I've not felt accepted in the street where I live, but within hip hop, they're like, okay, this is hip hop.
Part of a family.
It's part of a family, no matter where you go in the world.
Yeah. Because you all speak the same language. You all understand it.
You understand it because it is a culture. It's a movement, and probably the most, influential movement of the modern era. If there's kids in Bulwell wearing Timberland boots because of Nas in 1996, like. That's the lineage. Yeah.
Well, kind of, talking about history, we had the Last Poets here
when
we first opened.
Amazing,
so they, the main guy from that outfit said when he was a kid, so he was like a teenager, because I said, what made you start? And he said when he was a teenager, Martin Luther King was shot, and he said, the first thing he wanted to do was go out and get a gun, and that was his first reaction as an African American. Was like, that's what I've got to have to do because nobody's gonna, I've got nothing, because they did that to him, a peaceful man. So that was it, and he got really angry. And then somebody said to him, I think it was, I don't know who it was, but somebody said to him, you're a poet. Shoot bullets from your mouth. And it was like, okay, well, that was a bit of poetry in itself,
exactly.
And that's what he does, And I said to, I introduced them as the kind of godfathers of hip hop because, they were,
completely.
But he said, no, we're not. He said, I'm not. He said, there were people doing it before us. There's been beat poets, there's been just sitting round a fire with a drum and starting to chant and speak.
All the way from Africa is the history of the spoken word and storytelling and rhyme is within the human DNA. It goes so far back. But that I understand why he's saying that. It's the influence they had on hip hop, but it's been going on for humanity. So completely.
It was a really special night when we had them, and then the next day we had a Q&A and lots of people came.
Perfect.
To ask questions about them. That's
a rare moment.
It was a real privilege, as it is indeed, to talk with you today. So, Jugs, if I was to ask you, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? Where would you like to be? What's your wish?
Where would I like to be? That's a difficult one because I used to, think about the 5-year plan and this and that, and I'm not really into all that.
It doesn't matter. Human. I just plucked it as a number.
I think with how things are going, I'd like to be able to really, make a living, maybe tour once a year and keep putting records out how I'm doing it. Because I don't even like the word underground hip hop, but the underground scene I'm in, there's actually an ecosystem that's working with the vinyl, people selling tapes, CDs. Like I'm sending tapes to Berlin. Like it makes no sense in 2023, but at the same time, people want physical music, and there's an ecosystem. So if I can keep this going and just level up a little bit, and hopefully I get enough people in different cities, I can tour. And I just want to be able to do this. I've been making a living at this somehow. I don't know how, but I've been doing it. But if I can just do that and, have something and, maybe bring some people along the way, because there's amazing, beautiful, talented people I know and love and I want around to do that. But, you have to get your foot in the door first.
You really do.
But
you bring your tribe with you, because I think it's really important to have your people.
Completely.
Kind of, everybody says to me, where's your tribe when we first set up? It's like, where's your tribe? And I was thinking, what do you mean?
Well, tribe with two people,
like,
that's your people, and you build it. Because then it's a lonely game otherwise.
Oh my word, yes it can be.
And the same people you see on the way up are the same coming down. So if you've got someone around you, then. But I think just
to help keep you.
Keep your level, man. That's one thing though. I've never. I talk about ego a lot. You keep it in check. I come from a humbling place and humble beginning, so I've been able to see how other people have been. Don't quit your day job because you got one gig. It's all that type of stuff. And
so talking about the day job, because I know you're a chef as well, which is a really interesting thing. We've both got that in common too.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not a rapper, but that
creation and music goes together. I always say because I mix and master and produce my own stuff as well. Like when you're mastering, it's like the extra sprinkle of salt at the end is the final piece. But
cherry on the top.
I know. So I've been working for myself, chefing since about 2016. It's about the same time I really started making money with music and kind of making it click that way. So I was able to go self-employed So I've just been making it work and doing catering and deliveries, and you know, people
That's
follow
brilliant.
my food online. I've always eaten. I've always been a big guy, and I've always cooked for people since I was a kid. I always did fried chicken. Everyone was like, if there was a party, even when I was 13, they're like, "Oh, do you wings?" And I used to bring them around. So, and my family all eat so well and cook well, and you know, with a mixed family, is all different cuisines and where I grew up. So that all influenced me.
What's your favourite kind of? What's your sort of vibe then? What's the kind of? What sort of things do you like to cook now?
Man, I try and do everything as authentically as I can.
Yeah.
I know a lot of different people from different backgrounds that have taught me those things, so I never say this is the genuine article, but I try and do that. But like, I've got Caribbean roots in my family. I cook a lot of Caribbean food. I love to cook Chinese food, but all different cuisines. I try and do, you know, whatever you want. I try and put it on a plate as authentically as I can. You know, so it's whatever takes me. You know, it changes with the wind. So today, you know, my favorite dish in the world is, you know, a Chinese roast duck, like a Cantonese roast duck. So I've been trying to perfect that. It's difficult. It's like a 2 or 3 day process, but that touches my soul in a different different way.
Duck. Difficult to come by right now.
Oh, definitely,
our current thing.
I know.
Really difficult. So, just one more question, if that's all right. A wish for the world. So we've had a wish for you, kind of for the, you know, for your career. A wish for the world.
A wish for the world.
What would you say right now?
That we
you just put something out there.
Let people live however they want to live, as long as it's not hurting anyone else, as long as you're not inflicting your toxicity, because there's a lot of toxicity. So let people live, even if you have these views yourself that you can't seem to unpick. Just let people live and stop affecting other people's life with whatever you're bringing. And if it's positive stuff you bring in, you don't even have to push that. Just know you've got it and let people live. Literally, just let people be. Leave people alone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Jugs, thanks so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing you play, man. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Of course, it's a pleasure, and thank you so much for having me here.
You're really welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Watch this space.